The Israeli defense minister says any ceasefire negotiations with Hezbollah will occur under fire.
חיזבאללה נמצא במצוקה מאוד גדולה. אין מי שיפקד, ואם רוצים מישהו.
The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps commander warns Israel of severe retaliation if it attacked Iranian targets. And an Israeli airstrike on northern Gaza kills at least 22 Palestinians and injures dozens. It's 4 p.m. Cairo local time, and you are now watching Qnews. Let's start off with the latest developments in Lebanon.
كل المستهدفين هن مدنيين.
الوضع شيء مرعب، شيء بخوف.
Israeli media has reported that sirens sounded in Haifa, Accra and across large parts of the Upper Galilee following launch of 5 rockets from Lebanon. According to the reports, sirens were activated in over 60 cities and towns in northern Israel. Media reports have also confirmed intercepting missiles that exploded over border villages in southern Lebanon's central sector. The Israeli occupation army has carried out airstrikes targeting the town of Qaliya in the western Bekaa district of eastern Lebanon, while additionally strikes hit the heights of Rihan and Aishiya along the towns of Taiba and Ramya in the south. Meanwhile, Lebanese media have reported that Israeli occupation forces have conducted an airstrike on the town of Hanin in southern Lebanon. The reports also confirmed that Israeli forces targeted villages in the Tyre and Ben Jbeil regions and amid heavy reconnaissance and drone activity, dropping bombs near villages along the Blue Line. In response, Hezbollah has announced that it shelled 2 Israeli military positions in Lebanon's Shebaa farms located on the Lebanese-Syrian border. The group stated that it launched rockets at an Israeli soldier gathering in the Sa'adana area and targeted another group of Israeli soldiers at the Birkhata farms with a rocket barrage. Rescuers are sifting through the rubble in the southern Lebanese town of Qana, searching for victims of recent Israeli airstrikes that targeted the area. According to the Lebanese Health Ministry, the strikes resulted in at least 3 fatalities and more than 54 injuries. This attack has heightened concerns that Israel's expanding air campaign may increasingly involve public officials and buildings. The death toll from Israeli airstrikes on Lebanon since the latest Hezbollah-Israeli conflict began on October 8, 2023, has risen to 2,367, with 11,088 people injured, according to Lebanon's health ministry. The Israeli occupation army has continued its strikes on several targets across Lebanon. Israeli occupation forces have launched attacks in various areas, including the Nabtiya governorate in southern Lebanon. In addition, Israeli warplanes conducted airstrikes on the southern outskirts of Beirut, intensifying the ongoing conflict. Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant has said that Israel will not halt its military operations against what he called a weakened Hezbollah until it can safely return its citizens to their homes near the Lebanese border. In a video released by Israel's defense ministry, Gallant emphasized that any ceasefire negotiations will occur under fire. While addressing brigade commanders at the borders, he claimed that Hezbollah is in significant distress, asserting that Israel aims to dismantle Hezbollah's infrastructure in the region.
ואתם רואים מה קורה. עכשיו, הדבר השני שהוא מאוד חשוב, זה כמות האמל"ח שאתם מוצאים. מה שמצדיק לחלוטין את הפעולה.
Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps Commander Hossein Salami has warned Israel of severe retaliation if it attacked Iranian targets. Salami has stated that Tehran would respond with a strong and painful blow to Tel Aviv. The warning comes after Israel vowed to strike Iran in response to an Iranian missile attack earlier this month. The U.S. has informed Israel that it opposes the nearly daily strikes on densely populated areas of Beirut. Washington stressed the importance of Israeli operations being carried out in a manner that does not endanger civilian lives.
We have told Israel directly that we oppose any Israeli campaign to certainly of near daily strikes in densely populated area in Beirut. You are correct. That is something that we have been very clear about. We also understand that what they're conducting, the operations that they're conducting to destroy Hezbollah infrastructure is targeted. And so we'll continue to have those conversations with the Israeli government. And that is something that we will continue to do. And we have been really clear. It is critical. It is critical that these operations be conducted in a way that does not threaten the lives of civilians.
For more analysis, we now move to Karim Hatem in our newsroom. Karim, to you.
Yes, thank you, Riham. And on the escalating tensions in Lebanon, we are joined now by Hisham Fawaz, head of the hospital department at the Lebanese Health Minister. Thank you, Doctor, for joining us. Now, in light of the recent airstrikes in Qana, what is the current status of the hospitals there and in the region?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Basically, the situation is very critical. It's very hard. It's still under control, but it's very hard. Why it's very hard? For many reasons. First of all, as you all know, Israeli army is continuing and attacking health facilities against all laws, against the Geneva law, and against all UN regulations, which we requested many times to stop without any response from anyone. So already we lost like 6 hospitals out of service, like around 7 to 8 hospitals working with a minimum capacity due to several reasons. Second main reason is a continuation and attacks on the healthcare worker and the EMS teams, on health facilities, on centers, which also making us struggling in transferring patients transferring casualties between hospitals. And third one, don't forget, in Lebanon we have around 1.2 million displaced people, which they have a lot of medical and health needs, which also is putting additional pressure on our system. And yesterday, as you know, one positive cholera cases was detected, and that's also additional pressure on our system. Our system is under pressure. We have a huge pressure from many sides for several reasons, but still things are under control.
So when we talk about the medical supplies and resources, what is the situation when it comes to hospitals in the south and also in the capital right now?
We are following up with these hospitals on a daily basis. For sure, the need is big and the access is very hard. That's why we are collaborating and coordinating all the time with ICRC, with Lebanese Red Cross and with all UN agency to take the necessary actions to deliver the necessary medical supplies for these hospitals. For sure, we have shortage because, as you all are aware, that our hospitals received around 10,000 casualties in less than 3 weeks, which is a very big number. Especially that most of the cases needed to be admitted to the hospital, needed more than 4 to 5 surgeries. All these facts that I'm stating already will put an extra pressure on our system, on our health system. That's why, for sure, there is a shortage. We received many donations from several countries, from several friends, from several UN agencies. The need is still there. Also, don't forget the need for chronic and acute medication for the displaced people. Now we have a huge demand on chronic and acute medication on monthly basis. Our need is not 1,000 or 2,000, or monthly needs is more than like 200,000 to 300,000 box of medication, because we have around 25% of Lebanese people are now displaced.
Okay, when we talk about the ongoing airstrikes and the ongoing attacks in southern Lebanon and also in the capital, and there's been attacks, a series of attacks also in some cities in the north. When we talk about what's happening in the south, in Qana included now, what kind of measures are being taken to ensure the safety of workers there? Because there have been concerns regarding healthcare workers in hospitals during these attacks and these escalations in the past few weeks.
I am very sad to say that there is no measures, because the Israeli army are not respecting any measures. They are not respecting any laws. They attacked UNIFIL, they attacked UN agency. They attacked Lebanese Red Cross. They tried to attack ICRC. They attacked EMS. They are not respecting anything. They attacked directly many hospitals. The measures is that the international community need to pressure on Israel to stop their attacks on health facilities, on civilians, on children, on women. That have to stop today before tomorrow.
Right, but I'm talking about the measures that you've been taking from the Lebanese Health Ministry
the
and the department and the hospital department. What are you? How are you reviewing what's going on in the south specifically, and the necessary measures that could be taken in light of all the escalation that's been going on?
The measures that we are taking, that we are evacuating injuries between hospitals. We are trying to decrease the pressure or to limit the pressure on the hospitals that are on borders or close to borders. So we are always 24 hours evacuating casualties and injuries from Bint Jbeil, from Nabatieh, from Tyre to Beirut, to Mount Lebanon, to Saida, at least to have to keep the balance in the health system. But again, even while evacuating or transferring casualties between hospitals, many times the EMS are being attacked. And that's also is a high risk for us.
Just one final word, Dr. Hisham, because it's very important for people to know that what are the hospitals or the regions and the areas that are right now running full capacity? And you said you had many of these hospitals under control.
Yes. Now the hospitals that are still working are in Beirut, a part of Mount Lebanon, North Akkar, and part of Shuf.
Oh, thank you very much. That was Dr. Hisham. Thank you very much, Dr. Hisham Fawaz, head of the hospital department at the Lebanese Health Ministry. Thank you for your insights. And now we go back to Reham Morsi in our studio. Back to you, Reham.
Thank you, Karim, for that interview. We move to the Lebanese Ministry of Health that has confirmed that the final death toll from the Israeli airstrikes on the Nabatieh municipality has reached 16, with 52 others wounded. News sources have reported that Israel is implementing a fire belt through the series of airstrikes in Nabatieh and its surroundings in southern Lebanon. In a related development, Nabatieh Governor Waida Turk announced the death of the municipality's mayor in the attack. Israel's airstrikes on southern Lebanon are escalating, resulting in an increasing number of civilian casualties.
Israel's continued aggression against Lebanon, particularly the south, has sparked growing concerns over whether this is an escalation, intimidation tactic, or a mere show of force. The relentless airstrikes are claiming more Lebanese civilian lives and further destabilizing the region. Ahmed Kahil, the mayor of Nabatea, and 5 municipal employees were killed in one of 11 Israeli airstrikes targeting government buildings in the area. The air raids, which have drawn a fiery line of destruction around the city of Nabatea in southern Lebanon, stand as a stark example of Israel's obstinate refusal to pursue peace. This intransigence extends beyond the disregard for international law. Even the U.S. has publicly opposed the expansion of Israeli attacks in Lebanon, especially as the death toll climbs and humanitarian conditions deteriorate. As expected, the Israeli military justified the strike by claiming they targeted Hezbollah's military facilities and weapons depots in Nabatea. However, the unfolding situation in Lebanon has triggered warnings from the international community, raising fears of a full-scale regional conflict. Despite these alarms, Tel Aviv continues to turn a deaf ear to calls for reason and peace. The mounting tension not only threatens Lebanon's sovereignty, but also risks plunging the entire region into chaos as diplomatic voices struggle to be heard amid the growing violence.
Now we move on to the latest developments in Gaza. The Palestinian Health Ministry is warned of a real humanitarian catastrophe for newborns in the neonatal unit at Kamal Adwan Hospital. In a statement, the ministry highlighted the hospital's fuel shortages and critical lack of medical supplies due to the Israeli siege on northern Gaza, which is now entering its 13th consecutive day. The UN Security Council has held an emergency session called by Algeria to address the situation in northern Gaza. Algeria's ambassador, Ammar Benjama, reiterated that the situation in Gaza has reached a catastrophic level, calling on Israel to fulfill its obligations to protect civilians' lives under international law. Benjama also warned that if Israel halted UNRWA's operations, this would strip Gazans of the backbone of humanitarian aid and further complicate the United Nations mission.
Yet we cannot feed them.
A Chinese envoy to the United Nations has called for an immediate end to the violence in Gaza, emphasizing China's commitment to promoting regional peace and stability. During a UN Security Council meeting on the situation in Gaza, Fu Kong, China's permanent representative to the UN, highlighted the worsening situation in Gaza, where Israeli military operations continue unabated, leaving civilians in dire conditions. The envoy stressed the importance of the Security Council in upholding international humanitarian law. He also condemned the use of hunger as a weapon of war, which he described as a serious war crime.
援助武器化，解除对加沙的封锁和人道准入限制。
U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has urged Israel to take further steps to address the urgent humanitarian crisis in northern Gaza. The call came during a phone conversation with his Israeli counterpart, Yoav Gallant, where they discussed the deteriorating conditions in Gaza. This follows a formal message from Washington pressing Israel to improve the humanitarian situation in the occupied territories. Parachutes with aid have been seen dropping over the Gaza Strip. This came after UN humanitarian officials noted that aid entering Gaza is at its lowest level in months, with the AIM crossing into northern Gaza closed and no food or essential supplies entering since October 1st. Israeli occupation forces have committed 2 massacres against families in the Gaza Strip over the last 24 hours, killing at least 29 Palestinians and injuring 93 others. The Palestinian Health Ministry confirmed that Palestinian death toll from the Israeli onslaught since October 7th has exceeded 42,400, with more than 99,200 individuals sustaining injuries. At least 22 Palestinians have been killed and dozens injured in an Israeli airstrike on a school in Jabalia camp, north of the Gaza Strip. The Palestinian news agency Wafa reported that Abu Hussein School houses displaced people and is affiliated with the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian Refugees. Russia has announced that its forces have taken control of more settlements in the eastern region of Donetsk and Lugansk amid intense fighting on the front lines. The Russian Ministry of Defense has reported that its forces captured the settlement of Krasny Yar in Donetsk and Nevosky in Lugansk. According to the ministry, Russian troops carried out attacks on Ukrainian forces and equipment in 138 areas over the past 24 hours. Additionally, Russian air defense intercepted 3 US-made HIMARS rockets and 56 Ukrainian drones. That brings us to the end of our news bulletin. Here's what we've been covering. The Israeli defense minister says any ceasefire negotiations with Hezbollah will occur under fire. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps commander warns Israel of severe retaliation if it attacked Iranian targets. And an Israeli airstrike on northern Gaza kills at least 22 Palestinians and injures dozens. This concludes our news bulletin for the hour. Don't forget to follow Q News on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok at QNewsAG to stay informed. For real-time updates, connect with us on UMS digital platform. Watch it. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more updates here on Q.